Yes, I do. A part of living in one of the nine outermost regions of the European Union, I have any doubt to assume that I feel like a European citizen. It's easy for me to justify this answer is if we think on the goals of the Europe Union and think that is one of my patterns for life or for my day-to-day activities. So I have any doubt to assume that I feel like European. I live in a European country, and I defend the values that European Union also assume as one of its goals. The introduction of single currency was for me in 2001 the moment that I realized that something big was happening. And at that moment, I was 16 years old, and I couldn't have close idea about if I was against or if I agree with this situation. It was hard and difficult at the same time. Because of the lack of information, because I was 16 years old and I didn't realize that we need that we need the euro for our day to day. So I think a part of that I realized there was a whole world to discover related to European Union and how the importance of we have a single currency to justify also the issues related to single market and that kind of issues that with 16 years old I realized that I didn't want to know about it. I think the present is and will be the worst moment due to the pandemic crisis that obviously will give us a social and economic crisis. So this is the most crucial moment that we have, and probably all the countries are now and will have to in the future to readapt all the priorities and the definitions of every kind of politics related to social politics, economic politics, health politics. Everything will be different. It was already the last year and will keep going on a different way since now from the future. We were very lucky because there's a delay that what's going on the central countries and what's going on in our archipelago. So first, when we heard about this virus, was like 1 year ago. We have a delay since the announce until the first case. We have a 4 months delay. So we have time to adjust, to prepare, and at the same time has our own strategy. We are a group of 9 islands, and the sea works here as a barrier to the virus. So we have a lot of cases in San Miguel, and then Terceira and the other islands, they spent the first wave without any case, some of them. So it works about the fact that we are, of course, outermost region, so one of the 9 outermost regions, so we have time to see what's going on at the European countries and try to learn with the mistakes, try to do the same good things that the other countries were doing and adapt to our reality. So with these 4 months, we could do some things that, in my opinion, were very good decisions, like control the number of passengers that were flying from the mainland in Portugal to the islands. We could also order to all passengers to have a negative test or to do the first test or the possibility of make the test when they land at the island. So we have some ways to control the number of passengers. And of course, I think it was at the first time, it was a very nice decision, but it wasn't enough because the number of cases keep growing up. And now after Christmas, we are expecting for, of course, more cases than we have at the beginning of the month, the last month of December, for example.
But does being part of the European Union in any way affect this experience in the Azores, or is it just
I think
not very relevant?
No, of course it was, because with the 4 months, with the delay that we have compared to the European, we could see what kind of attitudes the other countries were taking. And of course, they were sharing information. We have the Center for Disease and Control that give us information. And of course, that information came from the other countries of the European. So with that kind of contributes and sharing information, we could assume and decide what to do. So of course, it's important to have the contributes from other countries, from European experts in these issues to help us to decide and take the best decisions. Oh, for me, I think it was in 2012 when the European Union wins the Nobel Prize. I think it was a very important moment because during 60 years, the values of the European and all European citizens must be very proud of the contribution to peace, to human rights, for the democracy, that the prize give us that exposition. And I think it was a very nice moment, and I'm very happy for that moment. Well, it was already 8 years ago, and after that we had already other kinds of situations that we have to, or we cannot forgot that we won a prize for the contribution to peace. So I would like to say that this prize should be every day in our hearts and our thoughts, because it's important to contribute and to keep giving this kind of contributes. All the Europeans should have every day, or should understand the importance of winning this Nobel Prize in 2012. That's it. I think it's very important, and every day we should remind that something big happened, and that needs to keep doing something in this way, because the prize was 8 years ago, and I don't want to think that, okay, it's gone. No, there's a hard work that needs to be doing every day, and sometimes we need to remind people that we won the Nobel Prize because we have an excellent contribute for the peace in the world. So. I think I had an experience in my life as a doctor that was really important for me. In 2015, I had the opportunity to work and live in London. For me, as a Portuguese woman, I think it's something big. It's not impossible, of course, but if it wasn't a European country, it was hard to have to be accepted to work in a English hospital. So I think it's this kind of situation that we all belong to European countries, and we have the possibility to have experience in other cities, and in this case a big city, because I live in a small town, and I live for 3 months out of the island, out of my country, speaking every day a different language, work in a big hospital. I think it was the second biggest hospital of London, and as a doctor was a very nice, wonderful challenge that I had, and I would repeat, and I will repeat as soon as I can, and I will recommend it to my kids, because this opportunity to work in a different country, in an European country, is something unique that I won't forget it to the rest of my life. Not only in this case, not only for to work, but also when you think about traveling. So I think is the correct term, freedom to move. Well, I think I would like to dream then in 9 years we almost forgot about the pandemic crisis and all the consequences that it will have due to the pandemic crisis. I'm very concerned about the social and the economic problems that we'll have. Even that we now already have the vaccine, I think the effects of the last year, they will long, not forever, but we'll still have a couple of years that we are living with coronavirus on our thoughts every day. I think that is the worst thing that we can not think, but that we have to learn with this situation, and probably I hope in 10 years we'll look back and see, okay, it's gone and we already recovered from it. We are doing the best that we know that we can to keep life on the same levels of happiness and joyness and that we had before. So I wish I could look to 2030 and just look to coronavirus as something that happens without all the significance that now we are giving every day to this virus. So it's impossible to keep living like this. We need to have a different kind of happiness, a different kind of thoughts, but at the same hand, there are the social and economic crises that will put us down. So I think it is important for this. I also would like to have a different kind of contributions from the Center of Disease and Prevention, and I hope in 10 years we learn with this actual situation and find a different way to share information and to produce information, to write guidelines with different backgrounds, and then adapt to all the variety of realities that the European countries each one has. So we cannot have the same model to every country. No, we need to find a way to share information and adapt that information to every reality. I think this is very important. Yes. Yes, I think we have, and related to my professional activity, we have 9 islands. It's very difficult to work in this scenario because we cannot give to all the patients the same quality and access to health service that we would love to. It's completely different to live in an island with an hospital and we have 3 in the Azores, but then we have 6 small islands that don't have hospital. They have a small center with doctors, but most of them, they don't have the skills to take care of the most of the situation. And as a doctor, sometimes I feel very frustrated at the end of the day when I finish the work and start thinking that maybe the patients that are in the other island, they don't have everything they could have comparing to the other ones. And I'm talking about equality and health service for all the population in the Azores. There is something that people that live in the mainland, they don't have this idea, but for me as a doctor, it is very important to think that something needs to be changed. I don't know if we have to do a big or a huge investment in health technology, something like that. If we have to give other kind of skills to the doctors that work here, and also doctors, nurse, and all healthcare professional. And I think the European Union could help us to at least watch our reality and see with all experience that all the country different country they have, what kind of model we could have in the Azores, and what kind of attitudes, different attitudes we also could do to give our best to our patients. It's as simple as that, because at the first line it's the patient, at the second line it's the patient, and the third line is the patient. So sometimes I think or I realize that living in the islands without hospital, health problems are really, really a problem, and people shouldn't live with this concern about this. Okay, they should think, or it was better for us to think that living in a small, not small, living in an island without hospital is the same or almost the same that living in an island with hospital. But sometimes, unfortunately, we know that is not true.